So tikamapanga kuzambiri yonchi, we are trying to cover a distance so that come exams at least we are good. So it is my humble plea. Let's try to observe that one. Be serious, my friend. Let's discuss business here. Okay, so multimodal transportation. Last time we discussed carriage by air, and when we were discussing carriage by air, we talked about some documents that are there in the contract of carriage by air. So some of the documents we saw the commercial invoice, but anyway, nevertheless, I may confuse this one with the other class that I was also having, the weekend class, that is, probably thinking that I discussed these things with you, yet I never did with you. So, for the sake of being on the same page, can blessings remind us, where did we stop last time with this one? Multimodal transportation. We stopped on documents. We discussed the documents. Commercial invoice we did. Council invoice we did. Sorry? So we are supposed to start carriage by C. All right, okay, fine. Okay, all right. So we are saying we were supposed to start this one, carriage by sea. So now this is the kind of transportation where we use the ships and the vessels to transport goods and passengers via the sea. Now, in this our discussion, we are more concerned with the transportation of cargo. Now, we are saying when it comes to cargo transportation, almost close to 90% of global trade is transacted or conducted via this mode of transportation. And of course, when it comes to value, almost close to 70% of global trade is transacted using this mode of transportation. Now, this mode of transportation is a mode of transportation that has been there for ages. And because of its many advantages and strength, it is considered to be the most significant mode of transportation by when it comes to global trade. That's why almost 90% is through this one. Now, what are some of the advantages of this mode of transportation? Here are some of them. We say there are less maintenance costs. It is cheaper, useful for bulk goods. Now, when it comes to maintenance costs, you can agree with me that if it is, when it comes to road transportation and railway transportation, there are costs that are associated with the maintenance of the roads themselves, the maintenance of railways themselves, and so on and so forth. Whereas when it comes to sea transportation, there is nothing like we're going to maintain the sea route or we're going to maintain this and that. Of course, at times, you need to maintain the port facilities. This is okay. But most of it, there is nothing like maintenance of the routes that these vessels or ships use. So, less maintenance costs. At the same time, it is also cheaper. Cheaper from the part of the shippers. How? It is because there is an aspect of consolidation. The ship, as big as it is, for it to sail through from one point to the other, now, because of that, aliyense munthu amene wachita contribute katundu wake mmene muja amakhala kuti walipira kandalama kochepa. As a result, because of that consolidation, it becomes cheaper. And then we say heavy and bulky goods can be transported easily at a very small cost. That is another strength or advantage of this mode of transportation. That's why it is considered to be one of the most significant ones. Now, others have been using it in defense, and it has also been seen to be useful. Apart from that one, this mode of transportation, carriage by sea, that is, has been very critical when it comes to the conducting of foreign trade or global trading. Nevertheless, there are some limitations. Slow speed. You know that whenever you are at sea, when you're using this mode of transportation, at times it takes time because it moves so slowly. And the speed is something that probably you cannot imagine. So despite having all these advantages and strengths, but the speed is always very slow. And because of this, it is considered as a mode of transportation that cannot be used when you are trying to ship goods that need urgent deliveries. You have goods that are time sensitive, or we have goods that need urgent deliveries. You cannot use this mode of transportation because of this weakness, slowness. Now, we have this important concept we need to discuss, and this concept we are yes. Sorry, somebody is looking for somebody. Just 1 minute. Books. All right, okay. I think I'll send that on by email. I made it after these classes. You done for today? Yeah. All right, no, I'll send you. On advantages, you just put sorry? Let's go back to the advantages. Mm-hmm. 5 4 over libe. Ndio mimi ninaiwalika, it's okay. We'll include it later, don't worry. Ndio tinaiwala, tinaita umiti, I don't know. Yeah. So we'll include that one later. Thanks for observing that one. So there is this other concept. We call it the shipping market. Yeah. We can suggest some. What do you think? What are some of the disadvantages you may think of? Apart from being slow, what else? Let's think along those lines. What can be some of the disadvantages? What else? Somebody says it's risky. Weather, terrorism, piracy. What else? Piracy. There is piracy. 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 Yes, what's piracy? Somebody is asking. Okay, especially, okay, give an example of what happens in Somalia. In Somalia, okay, listen. Okay, listen. Okay, piracy is a type of banditry, or maybe an act of terrorism where some people, organized gangs, they will attack ships at sea for some reasons. One, they hold the crew hostage so that the owners of those ships should pay ransom, and so that these people can be released. So normally what happens is like you are owning a ship, a commercial ship that is, and the ship is sailing from either Dubai to South Africa, for example. Then it is passing through Somalia. That's normally what happens. When it is passing through the waters around Somalia, these gangs will go and attack this ship and hold the crew hostage. Then once the crew has been held hostage, they will always send a message. They will force the crew to call the owners of the ship. No, we are being held hostage here, and these people are demanding this much money. So the money that these people demand, we call it a ransom. Then when the owner of the ship pays, what happens? Then they are released. So that is piracy anyway. So it happens off the coast of Somalia, and of course in West Africa it also happens. So yeah, piracy is one of the challenges associated with this one. Terrorism, as we said, is one of the challenges. Of course, adverse weather conditions are some of the challenges, and many other things. Now, because of piracy, for example, because of piracy, what are the ship owners doing, or what are the companies, the shipping companies doing in order to deal with this problem? They are trying to intensify security to make sure that at least their ships are well protected. Now, this security they try to intensify is so costly. So it is costly to secure their ships against piracy, which is of course a disadvantage. So thanks for bringing out that one. Piracy is a very serious problem. Ransom. Like, just like what Jesus did. See, Christians, you believe that Jesus paid ransom. Ngati timatera kupereka dipo. Ngati uyufuna ndi musiye unipase ndalama mwakuti. That's ransom. So these ones, they demanded this one from the ship owners. And of course, with the notes that I'll give you, those ones, some of those disadvantages are there and well outlined for that matter. So that is it. Any other challenge that one can think of? My scholars. You were talking about adverse conditions. Adverse weather conditions. Is the deal of the risk that this is talking about? Yeah, those are some of the risks, because it can sink, right? It can sink because of those things. It can sink. So those are some of the risks, including. Okay, now piracy is a risk. Terrorism is a risk. Adverse weather conditions is also what? A risk, or can be a risk, and so on and so forth. And these ones also, this kind of transportation is always very expensive. It requires huge investments. Anyway, timafuna kuita introduce this shipping market. We were saying this shipping industry can be divided into closely related shipping markets, and each market trading in a different commodity altogether. So the shipping industry, we can look at it as a community. Now, this community has members, has players, has stakeholders. Nkhani kuza shipping ndi nkhani yonazona kuti kulima players osiyana-siyana. One, we have the shippers themselves, and how many people who are trying to ship their goods elsewhere. Those are the members of that community. Then we have the carriers. The carriers are the ship owners. Then we have the brokers. Then we have the ship builders, and so on and so forth. All these ones together, they make up this industry, this shipping community. So this shipping community now is divided into 4 segments, as we can see here. Now, these 4 segments are the ones we are calling shipping markets. If we can say public transport, okay, public passenger transport sector. Public passenger transport sector mwaisanzo ndi sector imene tinganena kuti ndi community imene kuli mapassenger amene amakwera public transport yu, kuli anthu aineka ma minibus, kuli anyamata oyita na minibus, kuli maconductor, kuli anthu ogulitsa minibus, and so on and so forth. Titangotero kupereka chisanzo. So we can say this is a community of public passenger transport. This is a community of public passenger transport. Fine. Just an example. So similarly, here we are talking about the shipping industry, which is a community. And this community, we are saying, comprises of many players, including the shippers, ship owners, and so on and so forth. So community ija inapangwa divide into 4 segments. Ma 4 segments in India. First one, we call it new building market, the first segment. The other one is called the fleet market. The other one is the demolition market. Then we have the new building. We have the sale and purchase, then the demolition market. That's the 4th one. Now, the first one here, the new building market. This one is the market whose role in this market is that of introducing new ships into the market or introducing new ships into the industry. In other words, this is the market of shipbuilders. Shipbuilders are ship manufacturers. So their role is that of building new ships and introducing those ships into the industry. So normally what happens, the shipping companies, the ship owners will always place orders, will always go to these people, the shipbuilders, and place their orders, asking them to build ships for them. So typically, on average, building one cargo ship takes up to 4 years to build. So meaning that there would be ship owners will always go to a shipbuilder and place an order, knowing that he or she will have that ship after 4 years. Now, we have places in the world that are considered to be major shipbuilding areas. We call them shipbuilding grounds. We call them shipbuilding grounds. Now, most of the notable shipbuilding grounds are located in South Asia, in Asia rather, in Taiwan, Korea, not Taiwan, Korea and Japan. Korea and Japan, these are the places where we have a concentration of these shipbuilding grounds. But this doesn't mean that ships are only built in those areas only in Japan or in Korea. That's not what I'm saying. Thailand as well builds ships, even in England. So there are many other places, but the two places I mentioned are the prominent ones. So you place an order there, they construct a new one, and of course deliver to you after 4 years. So the take-home message here is a new building market is a market which brings new ships into the industry. New manufacturers are many. Player mozi wa industry many. Then we have the freight marketing. Now, this one is also seen as one single international market divided into sub-markets for different types of ships. Now, in this market, the freight market, this is the market whose participants are the shippers, ship owners, and the brokers. This market is a market whose participants are mostly ship owners. Those are, we call them carriers. Ship owners are carriers, that is. So one participant, that is. The second one is a shipper himself or shippers themselves. Those are second participants. Then we have brokers. Brokers are agents? Yes. The ones that will broker the deal, right? And they'll bring you together. So the thing is, you want to ship your goods elsewhere, you get in touch with these ones. These ones are the ones that are going to get in touch with the carrier. They're going to book a place for you in the ship. So they are brokers, Kalapagati. But of course, in between, there are many other players also. As we proceed, we'll be seeing them. But just to put it in a simpler language, a broker is more or less like an agent, the one who is brokering the deal between the shipper and the carrier. So here tachula participants awiri ona kuti ndi atatu, that is ma ship owners, ma shippers and ma brokers. Whereas kuyambirira kuja ku new building market, the major participants were the shipbuilders and the carriers. Kapena shipbuilders and the ship owners. Anthu awandi amene amakonda akuchitachita amapezeka kwambiri musika kuti musika umene. Pomwe unsika wina tikuona uku wa freight market, there are those three major participants. Now, in the freight market, there are two major transactions that are there. As we can see here, we are saying we have the freight contract and the time charter. So, if we were to understand it in, of course, in a simplest way, the freight contract is more or less like matola, matola. when you are somewhere, you are traveling from here to Kasungu, you find minibus Kagamo ya Tundwanji. When you are boarding that one, you pay according to the space that you are occupying. You pay according to the seats that you are occupying. So they say no, kudi mukafika Kasungu per seat ndi 4,000 kwacha, you pay 4,000 kwacha. Uina so chimoso. Mwanjira ine pangati matola, right? So with the freight contract is the same way. Why? Because the shipper buys transportation from the ship owners at a fixed price per ton of cargo or per the space available. On the other hand, the other type of transaction, we call it time charter. So with the time charter, the ship is hired on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, the distance to be covered is also considered. Now, this time charter now, we can compare it to somebody who is hiring a taxi or maybe a vehicle. Whether ukwera muweka kaya mukwera anthu angati, it doesn't matter, koma mungowerengerana nthawi imene mungatenge komanso na distance imene mukuyenda. Tikamachita hire gari moto, normally that's what happens. Whereas inayo ili ngati matola, inayi ndiyo timachita hire. Now you can hire a ship mukungokweza mwina zinthu zochepa, only 10 tons of cargo, the whole ship is going. Mwangowerengerana nthawi imene mungagwiritse ntchito ship icha komanso mwina distance yomwe ingatengedwe. That one is called time charter. Now, in time charter here, the agreement that the contract that is signed between the shipper and the carrier with the help of a broker, this contract is called charter party. That contract is called charter party. Whereas the carrier, in this case, so in time charter, here there is a contract that is signed between the shipper and the carrier. So that contract is called charter party. Okay, and the carrier, in this case, we can call him or her a ship owner, whereas the carrier, in this case, is called now charterer. This one is called a charterer. So that is the contract of carriage by sea, but under this market we call the freight market. Okay, we were saying the freight market, first of all, this is the market whose participants are the carriers and the shippers, but there are brokers in between. We are together on that one, eh? Okay, so then we are saying in the freight market there are two types of transactions that are there. So the first one we are saying it is a freight contract. So with the freight contract, this is where the shipper buys transportation from the ship owners at a fixed price per ton of cargo. So it's more or less like, as I say, more or less like the way we do matola. Okay, I have this kind of cargo. Okay, you pay this much. Now, the other type of transaction, we call it time charter. As one so once. Ndatoza kuonani. Muntu mamopyeza nanga. Mfuna muntu ino wako munongo mwe mamopyeza muntu yitamatu. Aba spoka. All right. So, I was saying, now the time charter, this is where a ship is hired on a day-to-day basis and also considering the distance. So it's a method of shipping your goods by means of hiring a ship. Now, when you are hiring a ship, there is a contract that is signed between two of you. That is, you, the shipper, and the carrier. So in the contract, there are these terminologies that are also present. Then I was saying, during that transaction, the contract that is signed between two of you is called a charter party. Whereas the charter party is signed between the ship owner and the charterer. The charterer is the carrier in this case. That's what we're saying here. So we have the third market, and here's the third market, sell and purchase market. Now, as you can see here, this is simply a second-hand market for the ships, or a market where second-hand ships are traded. Now, this is what happens. We have carriers who are now having ships, and probably they are tired of those ships. They want to get rid of them. They want to dispose them off. They go to this market and sell their ships. At the same time, also, some other carriers, they'll come in and buy those second-hand ships. So, the participants of this market are always a mix of shippers, shipping companies, speculators, and shipping brokers. The shippers, shipping companies, speculators, and shipping brokers. These are some of the players that are involved in this market. What are speculators? The brokers, somebody said the brokers are middle persons, or they are more or less like agents. They broker deals between this part and the other, fine and good way, okay? But now we have the speculators. Who are the speculators? Alexander, say something. Charlie, help a brother here. Annie, what do you think? All right, yeah, sure, please come in. Yeah, say something. You have something that you're trying to bring up. Please, I want to hear that one. You're just giving it a try, but it is making sense, and I know it will make sense. Speculator. In stock markets, we also find this group of people, speculators. We know stock markets, right? The markets where shares are traded and so on and so forth. We also have speculators. So maybe if you can take it from that perspective, you can also apply to this situation. Who are these speculators? Okay, if we try to look at the scenario of stock markets, what do the speculators do in the stock market? So maybe you can borrow that one and apply it here. Mr. Theo, you want to tell us something? All right, okay. So let us look at the speculators from the other scenarios, not this one. Okay. They have? They cannot show up with the presence that they have, then they have a requirement. Okay, okay, okay. So they kind of like shareholders. Okay, all right, okay. They are more or less like shareholders. Then you tunawanga interrupt. Yes, same line. Okay. Others, you know what about ma speculators amene wa tikatenga ngati kuja kugulisa na mashare kuja amatani amakhala kutani anthu amene.
Are you looking at other parties that are also like what?
Okay, ababa what we are discussing here tukamba zona kuti tikayang'ana ngati free market ichi timaona kuti nthawi zambiri anthu amene amakhala ali active kuzochitika chita za kunsika umene owe nthawi zambiri amakhala ma shippers ndi ma shipping companies anthu amene ndi amene apeza ali pa business nthawi zambiri amwe timafuna mutengere katundu iya titete mwakambira komanso pamakhala ma brokers pakati pawo tinatero then tabwerano ku market inayi then we are saying this market inayi ndiyo tikuja kumagulisidwa ma second hand ships ena amakagulitsa ena amakagula right then we are saying anthu ambiri amene amakhala kuti akutengapo gawo kumeneko we say the shippers although not much but the shipping companies are the ones fana small shipping companies ndi ajamina amakauti wabwesa ship yawo yakutha akagulitsa ena sofuna gula tita kwa ikonza tauteka imene ya okay chabwe neno apart from those ones then kuli ma shipping brokers amapezeka koso amkhala pakati uthandizira madoba mwanjira ine then kuliso ma speculators ndeti mayangana ma speculators ndi madoba amene waonde kuti ndi ati and kumene kwa magwira ntchito yanje that's what we were trying to look at ndeno kuti tachite understand timafuna tibwerekereso ma speculators ya jama pezeka ku stock market yachi kuti amene jama atani kuti ntchito amagwira amene aja ndi awo ndiyofana napo that's what we are trying to look at so according to Blessings he was saying these are more or less like shareholders but they are invisible. That's what he was saying. And of course, Theo was saying, no, probably these are people who are just watching and doing like that. Okay, let's look at the scenario at the stock market. At the stock market, it is a market that normally has a list of companies whose shares can be sold publicly, right? So, when somebody is trying to buy shares in a particular company, choyambirira munthu uchi umayang'ana anthu amene akuoneka umayang'ana company yona kuti kodi company iyi imufana kule ma share. What's the going concern? Ndi company yoti izakhalapo mpaka lekale kapena ipitirira kwa utali wotani? Is it profitable? If I'm to invest in this company through buying shares, through the shares, am I not going to lose my money, or am I going to make profits at the end of the day, right? You always ask yourself such questions. Then there are people who are considered to be analysts, people who always have information at hand. They always analyze the performance of these companies and these businesses. And those people, they will always give you advice. Like you want to buy shares, they'll give you advice saying, you see, the way we're looking at this company, this is how it is behaving, and this is how the shares are behaving. But probably in the next 3 months or 6 months, this is how the shares will be behaving. Is either the shares are going to devalue or they are going to gain value. Looking at the way we are looking at this company. So it's up to you to make a decision. So it's like, for example, whenever the shares are being traded at 50 kwacha per share. Now, those analysts are telling you that, but in the next 6 months, the shares will have a value of 70 kwacha. Each share will be worth 70 kwacha. Definitely, there's a profit there. So you'll be assured that if I buy, it means if I spend 50 million kwacha, in the next 6 months, that will be close to 70 million kwacha or something like that. I think this is an investment worth investing in. At times, it can happen that these analysts will tell you that the way we are looking at this company, at the end of 6 months, the value of the shares will go down to 20 kwacha. So definitely it's a loss. So if you are making a decision, you're trying to make a decision to buy shares in this one, you have to think twice. But again, the same people will tell you that though the shares will go down, the value of the shares will go down to 20%, I mean to 20 kwacha, but maybe after some time, the value will pick up again up to 90 kwacha. So there are those fluctuations. So it is up to you to figure out let me invest in this one. So by 6 months, in 6 months time, the shares will go down, but again, they'll pick up again. All we are saying here is these are the people who are there to analyze how the shares in different companies behave. Of shareholders of various companies. But their main role that is there is to analyze and give advice. That came from the word speculation. you are speculating kukayikira china chake kuti mene chikuonekera ichi chimu chikhoza kukhala motere kapena ichichi chikhoza kuchita bwino kapena sichichita bwino. Anthu okayikira zinthu ndikumapereka ma advice based on kukayikira kwawo kuja, koma kukayikira kumakhala kuti after is scientific based rather. Now tikabwerano kunsika ukuku, those analysts, what do? They analyze the ships that are there, that are being traded on the market. A ship or a vessel is not a small thing, it's a big thing actually. So when somebody is buying that one, he has to make an informed decision. Now, that informed decision has to be backed up by some facts. Therefore, there is a need for these speculators or these experts to analyze the ships that are being traded there and give advice to would-be owners or to the new owners. So before you buy, you consult these people. I mean, at our Gulisa ship, they will analyze and give you advice. But those are not brokers. Brokers are different, and speculators are more or less like consultants that will give you technical advice whether to proceed with the transaction or not to proceed with the transaction. So nevertheless, these are some of the players that we can find in that market. Now, there is the fourth market that is here. We call this one a demolition market, the fourth one. So this one is more or less like a recycling market. It is more or less like a recycling market, and it is a bit more similar to the purchase or to the sale and purchase market. Why? Because it is a market where second-hand or old vessels or ships are also sold. The only difference is that the buyer here is not a ship owner or is not a carrier. The buyer here is a demolition yard. So zilingati kuna kuti we are assuming that there is a second hand car market there apa pachitukuko apa amagulisa magalimoto pena pake apa, then tiliso ndi market ina tikhale ni market ina kumalangalanga kucho kumene amagulisa galimoto zoti for breaking tingoyerekeza. So demolition market is more or less like a breaking market. Somebody will take his ship there, it will be sold to a demolition yard. They will demolish it, and maybe they will remove some spare parts or whatever, they will recycle whatever is there, and so on and so forth. The participants here are the ship owners or the carriers and those are responsible for the demolition activities. So now, apart from these four major markets we have seen, there are also some other supporting players present. Now, some of the supporting players present, we have the insurance companies, financiers, banks, and so on and so forth. And of course, some other or minor brokers are also there. Brokers are also there. The financiers are also there. Insurance companies are also there. These are there to help people, those that are doing their business at the demolition market. Kumalongati ku casino, some of you people who have been there at a casino, what happens there? A lot of things happen there. Koma mwina chinthu chimene timachidziwa chimaoneka ngati outstanding ndichoti people do gambling. So there are gambling machines there, and the gamblers go there and do whatever they know best. But there are some other people also that you find there, anthu ngati timati yani, ma money lenders or ma loan sharks, you find them there. They are hovering around. They know that awajesa drama, drama tuzilipo tikhoza kuberekani, TNPTizani shit. You know, such kind of things. So there are some of the people that can be found in that market, ku casino. So similarly, that's why here we say there are financiers there, there are insurers are there, brokers, and so on and so forth. Normally what happens at this market is to make sure that the ships are now being demolished or recycled, those that cannot be reused. So This demolition market makes the entire shipping industry more and more complex. So each and every party plays an important role in this particular market. They support each other because now without shippers, carriers will not have business. Without carriers, shippers will not have anybody to ship their goods. Without shipbuilders, nobody is going to introduce new ships into the market. Without sale and purchase market, it means those who cannot afford new ships will have nowhere to find those new ships, and so on and so forth. So there is this symbiotic relationship in this shipping industry. So this symbiotic relationship exists among those four markets that we are seeing. Misika iwiri four imene tikuona apapai siyo ima payoka. Instead pumakhala kudalirana kapena kuti ndi yodalirana. So of course we have this one, road transportation, but this one is straightforward, is basic. We cannot take much of our time in there, yeah, because if you were to define it, it is a means of transport, the means of transporting goods and of course passengers from one place to the other using the roads. And we have different types of roads: gravel roads, earth roads, macadamized roads, and so on and so forth. These ones sinkhani yoti tingachitopita nayo kutali kwambiri tikudziwa mitunda misewu imene tili nayo as per these ones. If it is to read the notes, of course you will read. All right, so types of road transportation. Here also you have some work to do, that is to read. Of course I couldn't have written down all these other ones, but one thing I wanted us to take home is road transport is classified on the following basis. Based on the destination, you can classify this type of road transportation based on the destination. Based on the cargo size, we can also classify a type of road transportation. And also we can classify the type of road transportation based on cargo type. Now, this road transportation, of course, earlier in our discussions, some sessions back, we looked at it. We looked at some of the advantages or the strengths of this mode of transportation or this kind of transportation carriage by road. So, some of the advantages are those that are there. The capital is always very less or is relatively less. Any of you, you have some little money, you can find yourself into that kind of business. And when it comes to other forms of transportation, road transportation can be considered to be of higher speed if we compare it with other modes of transportation. But with other modes of transportation as well, we cannot safely say it is a mode of transportation with high speed. We can't say so. If we are to look at some other modes of transportation, but with some others, yes, it can. So the investment that is required in road transportation is, of course, relatively less as compared to other modes of transportation. For example, when we are to think about investment in road transportation, the first thing we think of is to construct a road. Whereas when we are thinking of railway transportation, what comes into our mind is the construction of railways, which is a bit more costly. And how about air transportation? The construction of airports and all the other infrastructures is way, way expensive. So when it comes to that investment, this one is considered to be probably a cheaper one. Yes? The classification. What do you mean by classification? Okay, I said road transportation is classified. there are some classes of road transportation that are there. But those classes are there based on those three factors that are there. For example, based on destination, based on the cargo size or cargo type. So, based on destination, there is a class of road transportation that is there. Based on the cargo size, there is also, and again, based on the cargo type. For example, if I take cargo type, for example, there is a road transportation that is tanker based, for example. It's tanker based road transportation. So, tanker based is the kind of road transport that normally uses the tankers. Now, the tankers will carry a certain type of goods that are in liquid form, isn't it? So, you have that class based on the kind of cargo that class will always carry. Then you say this is tanker based, right? But pay attention to that, those classes as you'll be seeing them. Of course, they are so bad. But my factors are really, I mean, my types of road transportation, I believe kuti vakuzasoka maslides akadalera kumabwana 5 6 or 10 their own. So that's why I see the deliveries. So those three factors I indicated there are kind of like they should act as guides to you when you are trying to over those types of or classifications of road transportation. So you read and pay attention to that. Yes, say something like that. I said the first point on disadvantage in the third one. Sorry? The first point here on disadvantage in the third one. Okay. Any advantage story? And business. Or the capital cost of vehicles is relatively low, making it competitive less easier for new users to gain entry. Right? Then the last one, what does it say? The third one, we say the investment required in road transport is very less compared to other modes of transport, such as railway and air transport. Okay. So the first one, we are talking about the users. Like for example, you and I buying a car can be a bit easier as compared to buying an aircraft or a train. Users like you and I, right? Those of us who are trying to enter the industry to become operators. It becomes a bit easier with road transportation. You can buy a truck, but to buy a train, you have to enter something else, right? That's the first one. Whereas the third one here, we are talking about an investment that will enable those transport facilities not to operate. So, for example, you need the airports, you need the roads, you need the railways, right? So, investment in this case, we're talking about those facilities that will enable you to operate through. So, here we're talking about construction of roads, railways, airports, and so on and so forth. So, it's a bit more expensive to construct an airport if you compare with constructing a road. It's more expensive to put up a railway line as compared to building a road. You understand, right? Yeah. So with road transportation, it becomes a bit more advantageous. So the exam you can put for the third point, putting infrastructure is expensive. If you put it that way, if you justify it that way, you are good to go. Yeah, because at least you need to show the difference between the two. So here, basically, we're talking about the infrastructure. The 5 point, we are basically looking at the infrastructure, right? Now, we are saying high speed. Okay, fine. That was okay. Now, what else?
Sir,
Yes, yes.
so we have a maybe something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And the spring letters.
Mhm.
Can we consider them as consultancies?
Oh yes, yeah. I also did mention that. I also did mention that one. That these are consultants. You consulted them when you want to take a decision whether it is better or not they want to do. So they provide advisory services for those that are trying to purchase those second-hand ships. So yeah, right. There is an issue of flexibility here because I mean you are able to do door-to-door deliveries, go anywhere elsewhere. Um, Then there's this second point also. I mean, this other advantage, the issue of revenue. We are saying road transportation is associated with multiple sources of public revenue. They include registration, gas taxes, sales taxes for the purchase of vehicles, toll fees, parking, insurance, and so on and so forth. The Ngoma, Kabina public revenue, this road transportation can also be a darling. Because for example, in some other areas where muna kusema ndi mamodo transportation ena consider na kule zore kabila. Of course it's equal so. So on short distances or over short distances, there is always high speed and there is always continuous movement of goods. But we are saying in short distances. Okay, so last but one. No, really, not last but one. So very good. How about the disadvantages or weaknesses or limitations of this one? Constant maintenance needs are there. Uh, that can be a disadvantage. It's also phobic. Also, um, there are issues of accidents and of course accidents occur anywhere, but anyway, with road transportation are there. Um, this road transport at times can be slow due to many other factors. For example, congestion, adverse weather conditions, poor road maintenance can slow down these things, unlike with other modes of transportation. Then we have what else do we have? Okay. So at times this road transportation can limit us as in how much cargo we can transport. At times this road transportation cannot allow us to ship or transport bargain cargo. So there is an issue of environmental conservation in this case also. We say motor vehicles or this road transportation is also responsible to a certain extent, responsible for environmental degradation through pollution. So that is an environmental hazard. Um, since this one is flexible, much as we've seen that flexibility is one of the strengths of this mode of transportation, but there is also the problem of unnecessary delays because there are no strict schedules at times. We might not. So, flexibility, much as that flexibility can be seen as an advantageous, but also to a certain extent can be disappointing. Um, let's see. Let's start here.
So, question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, in your opinion, which one would you think is expensive in terms of insurance between water and road? As a disadvantage.
Between
Water and road in terms of insurance.
um, house, right? Here's the question. Between the two, the question is, which one do you think is likely going to be more expensive
In terms of insurance.
Insurance, yes. House, what do you think?
Marine,
Mhm.
the
Why
more
and how?
expensive it takes to build up, come up with the more expensive insurance will be.
Okay. According to him, he's saying this one, maritime one is likely going to be more expensive.
The boss man. I think film in the Netflix. Anazokula hivyo. Anazokula bula. Labda kama mpaka nicheze tumbili. Tumbili tunacheza vitu.
All right. So, others, what do you think? This guy was saying, no, I think the steamer, the advancing car is more expensive. Others, what are your opinions?
Depends.
It depends, right? Say something on the
Some boats are not that expensive as some cars, and some cars are more expensive, so the insurance will also be more.
right?
Is it paid to the International Maritime Organization or?
Mm, there are various bodies that provide this insurance. There are various bodies, right? That provide this insurance. Probably we'll get there at a later stage, but not necessarily International Maritime Organization, not necessarily. Yeah. But now, coming back to this question that this guy asked, somebody said this maritime transportation can have a bit more expensive insurance. Somebody says it depends, right? But one thing we need to consider also is the value. Because when you're insuring something, you look at the value of that thing, right? We are assuming that you have a 3-ton truck. This one is capable of transporting goods that are worth 3 tons, isn't it? Now, the idea behind insuring this vehicle, first you insure the vehicle itself, you insure the vehicle, and then the cargo that this vehicle can carry. Now, you cannot compare the value of 3-ton cargo and the value of 20-ton cargo. Cannot be the same. The value of the same. Zinazi is maybe worth 20 million watt. So is that 3 tons? Is this 20 tons? Maybe it's worth 100 million watt. What do you know about the insurance here? Like I said, which one is insurance? You know, no one will say that this time. You don't know 20 million. Also, you don't know 20 million. That's 100 million. Right? So now, when we are looking at the ships or the vessels at the sea, the amount of cargo those ones carry is so huge. It's so huge as compared to what we can transport using road transportation. Even the value of the vessel itself, an empty vessel, the value is even a bit more higher. Yeah. So to probably put it short and simple, the insurance premiums that are there with maritime transportation are a bit higher. They are actually way higher than what you pay. Those that you can pay with road transportation. That's it. It is because of the value of the cargo that is transported and because the value of the ships themselves. But again, on top of that, there are some other tariffs as well, some other payments, taxes that are also paid by ship owners. They pay to different bodies. For example, we have what we call shipping conferences. We have what we call shipping conferences. These are associations of ship owners or association of carriers. Since it is an association, the members are carriers, and the carriers are also supposed to be doing some subscription to such a body, changing conferences. But anyway, that one is a topic for another day. So to answer the question, that's what I can say. Yeah, should we proceed?
Yes.
2, 3 more slides going on. Okay, good one.